If there's one lesson that the Injustice games and comics taught us, it's that superhero stories are at their most fascinating when they're handing out shocking moments like it's Halloween and they're the supermarket's cheapest candy. The speed with which the series hits you with surprise after surprise is almost dizzying, but then, like roller coasters and alcohol, that's also why we love it. Given the series doesn't affect the actual canon universe, the stakes have never been so low, and the excitement never so high for one individual mythos. So, I'm Ewan, this is What Culture Comics, and here are the 15 Injustice moments that shocked the world. Number 15, Superman destroys MOGO. In the most dramatic event of Injustice Year 2, if not the most dramatic moment of the entire series, Superman finally goes full villain, turning against the Green Lanterns, destroying the Guardian known as Ganthet, as well as the largest member of the Corps in the planet MOGO. With the destruction of MOGO also comes the destruction of the Green Lanterns, as the planet was the one to guide the Green Lantern rings to their new bearers. This means not only is one of the most powerful Green Lanterns killed, but also the entire of the Lantern Corps built to guard space and protect the universe, meaning untold destruction is basically confirmed to break out after this event. Number 14, 5U93R. The 5U93R, or when you're not secretly saying super in tech speak, nanotech pills, are an invention made for the Injustice universe in order to justify characters without superpowers being able to damage those with them, as the meds allow the use of rudimentary superpowers like super strength, super speed, and a significantly greater ability to take a punch. While these pills are a feature in both the comics and the game, they feel slightly more impressive and slightly more surprising in the game, if only because you could actually play as a non-powered character like Harley Quinn or Nightwing and take on enemies like Wonder Woman or Superman, and not have it feel totally out of character. Number 13, Superman murdering Lois Lane. Perhaps the most well-known moment of Injustice, and deservedly so, lies at the very beginning, where Superman kills his pregnant wife, Lois Lane. After being unknowingly infected with fear toxin by the Joker, Superman hallucinates the thing he fears the most, in the form of the city-destroying behemoth known as Doomsday. Attempting to save the city, the last son of Krypton flies Doomsday out into space, only to realize that it can't be Doomsday, because he can hear two heartbeats coming from the monster. Heartbeats he recognizes as belonging to his wife and their unborn child. Given this moment is what convinces Superman to commit a series of atrocities, it's a suitably surprising one, as up until then, you're left unsure if plot holes like the Joker and Doomsday teaming up are intentional, or a weird choice on the creator's part. When the moment first happens, you're left just as surprised as the Man of Steel, and maybe even just as heartbroken. Number 12, the Justice League fight Poseidon. When you begin reading Injustice, you're unlikely to go in with the expectation of seeing the Greek god of the sea eaten by a shark, and yet, the minute you see it in the comic, you realize it's what you've been waiting for your whole life. Because as much as you just couldn't predict DC's King of Atlantis and his mythological counterpart going toe-to-toe, it's also the exact level of surprising and shocking events that Injustice thrives upon. The fight leads to the collective cast taking on pretty much every member of the Greek pantheon of gods, destroying yet another faction within the DC universe and placing the already warring League against some of the most powerful beings in the known universe. Number 11, Superman gets a yellow power ring. Of all the characters you'd expect to wield the Sinestro core ring, the last would definitely be Superman. With the Man of Steel usually inspiring more hope than fear, you'd never commonly be able to see him use something that required people fear him, until of course Injustice happened. Giving Superman a Sinestro core ring is as well made a moment as it is shocking, as it shows even clearer to us how vehemently bad Superman has become, as people now actively fear him enough that he can become a conduit for the emotion itself. Even worse is that Superman is able to use these powers to overcome an otherwise fatal Kryptonian bullet to the heart, making it the most unexpected, yet effective recovery in the entirety of the series, and comes with the suggestion that Superman will now be even more difficult to beat than before. Number 10, Superman revealing Batman is Bruce Wayne. Proving that the single difference between teenage girls and adult superheroes is just how many people care about their gossip, Superman takes things to new lows and goes into the world of online bullying to try and stop the Dark Knight. Not only is it shocking in the sense that you have to come to terms with the idea that Superman knows how to use social media, gee Clark, but also the fact that part of his plan to ruin Batman's life involves essentially subtweeting him to reveal his biggest secret. Number 9, SHAZAM'S death. It seemed impossible that DC would allow Billy Batson, or his superhero form Shazam, to be murdered within the Injustice series. Seemed being the operative word, because not only did DC greenlight Superman killing Shazam, they also greenlit him killing the boy in the single most brutal death in the first game. In a cutscene where the pair get into an argument about the Man of Steel's morality, Shazam makes a reasonable point, telling the hero that his dead wife Lois would never approve of the things he is now doing. Infuriated by this insubordinance, Superman grabs Billy by the throat, holds him into the air, and then slowly uses his laser vision to burn through Billy's eyes and on into his brain, lobotomizing and then murdering an actual child. Oh my god, horrifying. Number 8, Guy Gardner's death. Having your arm ripped off by the guy who, 10 minutes ago, used to be one of your closest teammates has got to suck. With Guy usually being the more snarky, gruff member of the team, it really seems for a moment like him opening up to Hal about how much he believes in him will actually work, which only makes for an even bigger shock when Jordan tears off his entire arm with a Green Lantern ring on it, before dropping Guy to his death miles below. Number 7, Batman vs. Batman. Watching The Dark Knight launch into a big fight is one of the most consistently rewarding things about the DC franchise, both in comics and out of them. So, what's better than seeing Batman fight someone? Well, seeing Batman fight another Batman. That's what, and coincidentally, that's also exactly what we are gifted within the Injustice game story mode. It's for admittedly slightly bizarre reasons, as the fight breaks out towards the end of the game after the alternate universe Batman insists that he's sending the other Justice League back to their universe in order to save their lives. On the plus side though, it makes one thing clear: even when Batman is losing, he's also winning. Number 6, Alfred beating up Superman. Anyone who didn't get the world's biggest kick out of Alfred beating Superman into the walls of the Batcave is either a serious fanboy or scientifically incapable of feeling the human emotion of excitement. With Injustice introducing the previously mentioned nanotech pills that allow regular humans' abilities on par with metahumans, the time for the Butler's beatdown special had never been better. Upon Superman entering the Batcave basically to harass whoever was inside, Alfred finally loses his patience and let loose what appears to be his entire life's bottled up rage on the Man of Steel, which takes the superpower pills from feeling like a plot device to being the best invention DC have imagined yet. Number 5, Black Canary's death. With Dinah Lance's newborn baby being shown to us literal issues ago, many fans were pretty confident in Black Canary's safety in the fight against Superman that she would later join. After all, Superman had refused to fight her earlier in Injustice Year 2 upon learning that she was pregnant, so his awareness she now had a days-old child seemed likely to smooth the proverbial beast. Or not, as within their next confrontation, the Man of Steel decides to kill her despite being aware of her familial situation. Clark had also killed Dinah's other half, the Green Arrow, prior to this event, so he's aware that doing so will make him the sole reason their child is an orphan. In perhaps an even more shocking moment, it's revealed that Canary was recording Superman through some video contact lenses, and so his brutal actions are being broadcast across the world. A world that now considers the Man of Steel pretty much a monster for his ruthless actions. Number 4, ORCA and CROC'S wedding. If only one comic cover could remain in the entirety of the known universe, the only possible suggestion would have to be the continued survival of the cover of Injustice 69. Nice, which portrays a wedding between supervillains Killer Croc and ORCA, and is considerably less of a joke than you'd initially assume. Why? Because the whole thing is played pretty straight in the comic itself, where the assorted cast are torn between being thrilled for the pair and kind of grossed out at the sea creature PDA the wedding involves. Number 3, Alfred's revival. Alfred Pennyworth is unmistakably the unluckiest man in the Injustice series. Not only does he tragically die twice, but the unfortunate Butler is also never allowed to stay that way for long. Especially not with Ra's al Ghul around. In order to try and blackmail Batman, the former terrorist and supervillain uses the Lazarus Pit to bring the old man back from the dead. It works to lower the Dark Knight's defenses, as seeing the man who is basically his dad significantly less dead than he thought clearly catches the superhero off guard. However, it doesn't serve as the trap that Rage presumes it will be. Alfred takes a long time to recover, but when he does, he is squarely on his ward's side, meaning that Raish's big plan completely backfired on him, aside from the initial shocking reaction. Number 2, Dr. Fate plays with fate. Creating what is perhaps the single best line for Dr. Fate possible in the English language, Fate's decision to effectively Fate and revive Black Canary in an alternate universe where a partner Green Arrow is alive is one of the few shocking moments in Injustice that is also entirely precious. With Canary and Arrow getting such a rough time during Injustice, it's nothing short of a huge relief to have them finally get a happy ending, in spite of the fact that both canonically die. It's sweetened by the fact it's Dr. Fate fixing it to be this way too, as seeing such a stickler for the rules forego his code in order to let the couple live a happy life is as close to a tearjerker as the otherwise standoffish character may ever manage. Number 1, Superman destroys Gotham and Metropolis. As if to cement his role as the worst person in all of the Injustice series, the end of the game has Superman try to destroy Gotham and Metropolis, under the guise of showing his opponents how bad life would be without him, but realistically likely more for some sort of bizarre vengeance. It's shocking just to see how far DC's former greatest hero has gone, and how far he is willing to go to prove a point that is only serving to alienate his remaining allies from him. Seeing the Man of Steel plan the exact kind of evil scheme he spent so many years fighting against is completely surreal, and the former hero's complete lack of awareness that this is what he's doing is honestly unnerving at this point in the plot. Launching an all-out war in his hometown and Gotham is the point of no return for the Man of Steel, and that's what makes this moment so damn good.